So let me start by saying, I'm not a makeup artist. I'm not an MUA. I'm just a girl who likes makeup.
Good morning, my fur friends and their humans. So today I'm bringing you a little story time while I am doing my makeup. Not this look. Another look. Not this one. But if you want to learn how I met Dakota and Shadow, stay tuned. Okay, so I did already wash my face and all that jazz, put moisturizer on. I live in the Midwest and we get some hella UV rays here, so I definitely am wearing something with sunscreen. So in my last video, I talked about Dakota and Shadow. You saw a reality versus an expectation with that boy. Backstory. I have known Dakota since she was a puppy. Dakota is a very special case. She's an anxiety baby who is a little male shy, which isn't anything to be too super shocked about. Dakota was a dog that came into the daycare that I used to work at. I used to go play in the little dog area with the little dogs, and we put her in a kennel over nap time. So we would get her out of the kennel and she would be covered in what at first I thought was urine. So with my knowledge from the vet clinic, I suggested that if she did not want to keep Dakota medicated, she could always try an anxiety buddy. If you have the time, effort, and finances, sometimes getting your dog a dog will stop anxiety. Shadow is the complete opposite dog as Dakota is. He's a long-haired husky who talks constantly and is very high energy. Showed up.
Shadow is also just over a year old. Coming on 2, or did he just turn 2? He might have just turned 2. I know I showed his paperwork, but whatever, it's not that serious. So, I started working for Amy personally about a year ago when I started my own business.
Knowing how Dakota acts in group play, I'm fine with taking her to the park. I don't know Shadow, so I need to learn how he is in group play. So when I first went to the dog park with Shadow, he wasn't neutered yet. He was not a year old. Veterinarians now are recommending that we wait till dogs are a year old to spay and neuter, because a lot of them are having growth plate issues and stuff isn't closing up right and we're stunting growth, and you can look into all that. I'm not a vet.
Excuse me, just get a little dunky here.
She did start to notice a few behavior changes and decided to get him neutered the day before, or a couple days before she left for vacation.
Shadow, guess what's happening to you tomorrow? You gonna get your balls chopped off? Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. It's gonna suck, dude.
My first experience taking care of Shadow was actually not going to the dog park with him. We stayed at home for a week. So fast forward to when their mom leaves the country and I'm staying with them for 10 days. 10 days is a long trip with 2 huskies. These are pretty high energy dogs. They need a lot. They like to be out walking, running, hiking at the dog park, and they're both social. I am a very vocal handler. A lot of people who work with dogs understand that dogs go from verbal commands to hand commands.
Like every single verbal command has a hand gesture that goes with it.
Basic dog training. I have been taking them. I have learned there is a pit bull that Shadow does not like. The owner does not correct. The dog does not redirect.
A redirect is where you call your dog, get their attention, and then move them to play with something else. Or someone else. along with not redirecting.
He doesn't even recall, where you just call your dog. Recalls are like the number one thing that dog trainers stress the most, because if your dog has a good recall, they're almost always gonna stop what they're doing and return to their owners. Shadow does not like a Weimannheimer, gray Weimannheimer.
I mean, I don't know why I said gray, they only come in gray. He doesn't like Weimannheimer that comes out there.
She acts oblivious.
Hi, sir. Excuse me. Excuse me. Can we not stand on my iPad? Thank you. And can you attempt not to make the most noise while I'm doing this? Appreciate that. Okay. So he does not get along with the Weimannheimer.
And then there is the chocolate lab.
The chocolate lab.
So the lab's owner. The chocolate lab's owner always brings his 2 children with them. With him, not them, with him when he comes to the park. So this is 2 children, 1 dog.
Now let's throw the next part into the mix. I'm not a doctor. I don't know these people. By watching his oldest son's behaviors and comparing them to my niece's behaviors, he seems to be on the autism spectrum. Completely verbal and probably not super severe. I don't know this for a fact. This is strictly observation. I love my autistic kids. What can I say? The father does not pay attention to the kids when they come to the park. The dog is a good dog and he loves his mini humans, so he checks on them. These kids love to call Shadow, run with Shadow, and cause an issue. So this is not the first time that I have had to address this. I have explained to these children before that they need to stay away from Shadow. We don't chase dogs. We don't teach dogs to chase us. These are unsafe practices with animals.
Nothing new. This has happened on times where I have brought Dakota and Shadow's owner to the park with me because 3 months ago, the poor woman snapped her leg. In multiple places, had to have surgery and the whole 9 yards.
So, as she started to get better and was able to walk again, she would accompany us to the dog park. It's her social hour. I mean, I'm okay with it. I love my humans.
I mean, trust me, I love my fur clients. Like, let's not lie, they definitely rank above their humans. Sorry, you guys. I love all you humans, but your babies just bring me life.
I take care of a few dogs in this group of dogs because, I mean, that's just what an all-around pet nanny does. Probably it's the second incident. I believe the first incident I had with this group of people, or with this household, happened when it was just me and the dogs. At that time, I didn't correct it with the humans.
I did not correct it with the humans. I redirected and continuously moved Shadow to another part of the park. This park is not small. This park is very large.
So, the dog continues to come over to where Shadow is because the kids continue to try to play with Shadow. So at this point, I'm like, whatever, we've been here a while, we'll just go home, not a big deal. So then the next time this occurs is when the owner of Dakota and Shadow is with me.
So at this point, once again, this dog and these children's father is all the way on the other side of the park by himself, wandering around. And these kids are constantly trying to interact with Shadow, and their dog keeps coming over, and that's triggering Shadow's reaction.
So I explained to these kids, we can't do this. You guys cannot play with Shadow. You can't run with him. It brings your dog over. Shadow doesn't like your dog. You guys are causing a problem. That was that. Went about our night, had a good time. So then,
Last night happens.
I'm not afraid to speak my mind. And in this day and age, more people need to speak their mind, and I have no problem talking to children. I have no problem talking to other people's children, especially when it comes to the fact that I am trying to protect the dogs that I am working with. These are my clients. These aren't my dogs. These are the responsibility that I personally take on to pay my bills.
And to live my best life and be happy.
So, these people show up to the park last night. Owner lets the dog in and does not try to direct him to a certain group because he really doesn't have a group of dogs that he plays with. Now, when Dakota and Shadow's owner and I get to the park, we direct him straight over to his group. We try to direct both of them straight to their group.
They have a large group of friends that come out to the dog park almost 7 days a week. Last week, while I was there with Ozzy and Fiona, we stood outside and got rained on for an hour while the dogs played. They're pretty hardcore, dedicated park people, and I like them for it.
So, guy lets him in. The kid is instantly trying to get Shadow's attention. So here's Shadow over with these two children, and here comes the dog he doesn't like, their dog. So at this point, I have to take off, full-fledged across the park.
I am not a runner. By any means. I'm an athlete. I'm not a runner. You can be an athlete and not be a runner, trust me.
I have been doing this for 10 years. I have been working with animals for 10 years. I have been studying their posturing, their behavior.
Behavior, their vocalizations, because I want to protect the dogs that I work with. It's just common sense. Educate yourself on the field.
Now that you got the backstory on how I know Dakota and Shadow, stay tuned for the next video on me getting called out at the dog park.
So here's where the issue comes at the dog park.